Hello and good afternoon. Here it is. It's a Thursday, April 23rd, and a little break from the madness. We've taken the show on the road. Jay Parker, Greg Hollenbeck, and Brian Freeman, the team out and about. We're at Molly Spirits, guys, on Arapahoe Road, 925. You probably would have liked to know that a little bit earlier, huh, Brian? You went to the Lakeside one. Good to have.
I'm glad I'm out here. This place is full.
Good to have you. It's Molly's Lounge, and why are we at Molly's Lounge? It's easy because at 5:30, Molly's Lounge is going to take off and do what a lot of people are doing right now in their virtual tastings. So today's tasting is with Jay Johnson and Barrick Distillery, and also with Ryan Negley from Boulder Spirits. So those guys are going to fire off. Molly's Liquid Lounge tonight at 5:30. Look for that on Molly's Facebook page. That's going to be a cool one. In the meantime, we've got a great show for you here today. 4 p.m. moderator show continues Monday through Friday, and then Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. on our radio affiliate, 630 KHOW. Thanks for joining us today. At 2:45, Denise Mickelsen from 5280 Magazine is going to join us to talk about Double Down. Do you know what Double Down is?
I do know what Double Down is. It's a super awesome program for all the restaurants right now.
It really is.
Matching a $40,000, a little more than $40,000 match.
We'll dig into the details with this at 2:45. 3 p.m., Dr. William Blanchet from Boulder Internal Medicine. And we just want to get the doctor's perspective. Can we get going? When is good to gather in restaurants? And doctor's going to shed some insight on that for us. And as always, at 3:15, Larry Herz from OCN Eats is going to join us actually here at Molly's in the Liquid Lounge. So we'll talk to Larry at 3:15. 3:45, she's our spirit guide, Dr. Sara Metz in Code 4 Counseling. She usually works with first responders, keeping them happy and sane in a world that right now is just seemingly upside down and insane. She's really a restaurant industry. To agree with some of the emotions that we're feeling. So Dr. Sara is a great way to always end the show. In the meantime and in between time, are you ready for tour time?
I am ready for tour time. I've been walking this place 100 times getting ready for this.
Well, we're going to a spot, and we're heading right to Leopold Bros. Leopold's right here, and Todd Leopold's going to give us a tour, and we're going to talk, and he joins us now on the Modern Eater Show. Good to see you, Todd.
Good to see you as well. How are you?
Well, we are well, and we are looking into your beautiful tasting room, but just like a lot of places, the only person in it is one or two people, and you're alone in there today, huh?
I'm very much alone here, unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Let's start at the beginning. You guys, when you're there, brewing ground, right? I mean, Michigan, here's a couple of guys in 1996. Let's go and start a brewery, and that brewery with live music and your brewing skills. And I believe you went to Munich to refine some of those brewing skills and just master the lager.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was enjoyed lager beers quite a bit. I went to brewing school at a place called the Siebel Institute in Chicago. And when I graduated from there, I did further in my education at a brew school just outside of Munich and focused on lager beer production, did apprentice work out there, focusing on brewing, malting. And at the time, Scott and I went to college in high school. And at the time, I always remember this number from our business plan we put together in 1994. There were 14 breweries in Boulder, Denver, and included the market saturated. And everybody laughs when you say that, but we were right at the time anyway. And Ann Arbor, Michigan didn't have any breweries. My brother went to Northwestern for his undergrad and then to Ann Arbor to watch Michigan eat the head of the Northwest football team and just liked it a lot. Kind of a similar city to Boulder, smaller, but, kind of the same kind of vibe there. And so we opened up a brew pub, and that's how we got our start in 1999 and making beers. And it got up the same way that other tap rooms are. It's licensed the same way as like Great Divide, or if you go to New Belgium or Avery, there you could only know what's made. And in 1999, I was making unfiltered lagers. A few light years before Stadt Lagerhaus, right, opened up their beautiful brewery and wonderful, in my opinion, world-class beers. didn't go over that well because in 1999 we didn't have that much of a base of beer drinkers at the time. We had to get cocktails. We were going to survive. And so I went to Distilling Blanchet and went and worked Distilling Australia. And came back and we're one of, if not the first distillery in the country. So I made the vodka, the gin, the triple sec, the coffee liqueur. So what a lot of people realize is we're really the first distillery to do that. At the time, distillers just made vodka, just made gin, or just made, right? And we made everything. And the reason we made everything was that I was populating a back bar. And over time, got a little bit more success with that. And in 2007, we bought our building. And I think we all remember what happened in '08. So the market crashed and we couldn't afford the rent that he was asking. I just remember my mother called me up and he's laughing at what the landlord thought we would be paying for rent and said, well, we're moving. And we decided to come back to Colorado. Colorado allows self-distribution. That's what we did. We started at a little U-store unit. That was our warehouse. And we started distributing in Colorado before we moved here, just to kind of get our feet under us. But for years, the only markets that we sold in were, and I say it's specific, San Francisco, not the rest of California. San Francisco and London were by far our best customers for a good 5 to 8 years, because those are the only places that had cocktail bars. So when we moved, we really had some work to do in Colorado, and the show Mad Men came out. We started to get more serious bartenders here who were traveling, and finally we're understanding what we did and what we were about. And so understand, in 2001, when you're trying to explain, a chain bartender what the hell our gin was, and all they care about is where the after party is at the end of their shift. You can imagine what an battle that was. So it really took us a long time to really get financially stable. And then, as I said, Mad Men came out, more bars started opening across the country, and our sales took off. So after being in the wrong place at the wrong time for years, we finally had a viable business. And where I am now is a building that we opened up about a little over 5 years ago now. And so we went from 2 stills at our old space a few blocks away and about a 4,000 square foot building to our current space, which is 8 stills. We just added another, about 15,000 square feet with our malt house. We expanded what it is we're doing on the malting side. And that's the briefest history of Leopold Brothers I can give you.
Yeah, and it's a good one, too. I encourage you, go online. You want that history. And it's a great website, too. It's LeopoldBros.com, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Check it out. Great history, and you can learn a lot there. We're going to go on a fascinating tour, Brian. I had an opportunity to spend a few moments with Todd a couple of days ago to just see all of the innovative, cool things. A zero waste facility. Talk about that first.
Well, that's kind of why we opened the business in the first place. My brother graduated from Stanford with a master's degree in environmental engineering. So he was the guy that you would call to, try and clean up your factory, basically. And at the time, he graduated in 93, 94, something like that. He was working for a large engineering company that would go into Fortune 500 factories, basically, and in his mind, make pollution free. But the reality was all they wanted to do was make them compliant with the EPA and get the dumb kid out of their plant. And at the time, nobody knew what the word sustainability meant. Nobody understood that using fewer materials and less energy was a wise business choice. To the point where when we put our business plan together, we had to take our environmental section out because bankers were looking at this and saying, what the hell is all of this? They thought we were crazy, or I don't know what they were thinking, but
probably that.
Yeah, just, and try to explain that to somebody back then just didn't make any sense. And so we realized that Scott realized that let's open up a factory and show people how it's done. So a typical distillery, winery, brewery, they're all a little bit different, but just to make the conversation a little bit simpler, for every bottle produced of beer, wine, spirits, you can have anywhere from New Belgium's at Orange, which is really good, all the way up to 35 bottles of wet water running down for every bottle produced. And at our shop, we're in the twos. So obviously water is very important everywhere, but particularly important in Colorado. So we're quite proud of that, and figuring out ways when you're coming in to design an actual factory, which is what we are, even though we're a distillery. People just think it's Willy Wonka time at our shop. I guess I've called Willy Wonka more than a few occasions. It's a factory. You need to worry about safety. You need to worry about what it is putting out in the environment, and you design the entire building on that. With the thought towards water usage and material usage, it becomes a lot easier when you're doing it rather than trying to come in and retrofit. And as we're walking around, I'll just point out a few things. But we learned early on not to talk about that too much, because if that's your focus, rather than quality, they kind of treat you like, and I can say this as a redhead, the redheaded stepchild. Oh, nice business. You're sustainable, rather than, we want to compete, with the largest distilleries in the world and world-class spirits and have that be the focus. So the information of what we do environmentally is there, but it's not something that we emphasize.
So are you is your building LEED certified?
No. And not go too far down that rabbit hole, but for an operation like ours, that's a bit of a mind grab and pointless.
Is it? Okay.
The same thing with organic certification, and we have so many different brands. We would spend so much money chasing after these certifications. The question you have to ask yourself: are you doing things to make an impact, or are you doing this for marketing? So
I agree wholeheartedly with a lot of that, because a lot of times we see farmers that is organic, but the certification is just
it's too over. It's too much money sometimes, and you're chasing too many directions. And where's the focus? And
let's dig in. Let's get a tour. It's fantastic. So, we're going to kind of just allow you to lead the conversation here and show us as we go along here, but kind of give the layout of the property, how many acres you have, what we're going to be seeing today. And you do these tours all the time. So we're going to kind of just let you take it away.
Not on a phone, so I'll do the best that I can. I'm going to be flipping the camera around so I don't knock myself unconscious.
Yes.
I hope that if you need me to flip it back, just let me know. But right now we're in our tasting room. We're on a little over 4 acres of a campus that we buy in, and we've been slowly adding buildings on it as we've needed. Again, we're 5 years old, so I'm going to flip you real quick here.
And Todd, tell us for the viewers, where are you located?
So right now I'm in our tasting room. So basically I'm standing right by the front door where you would come in. We do have cocktails here. We can come and have a drink and pick up a bottle if you'd like. The larger tables are here for our scheduled tours that we have ordinarily, obviously, on Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. We also do our charity tours in here on Sundays, where we've auctioned off hundreds of gift certificates for a tour at Leopold Bros to various charities over the years. I'm going to keep walking so you don't have to hear the phone that I know I can turn off. And what that allows us to do is bring people in and have them see our distillery at no charge. And it's just a really nice way to kind of give back to the community. There's a couple James Beard semifinalists. We have a third, and I keep telling my wife, don't leave, we'll win it one day. We're working on that as much as possible. This is our distillery cat. to make sure.
What's the scary cat's name?
Yeah, that's Bonnie, our distillery cat, and that's a working cat. Make sure we don't have to worry about mice or anything like that. Not that that's an issue, but it's a long tradition in distilleries to have a distiller cat. And in fact, if you look at Bounty, they actually have a statue of a cat with something like on the plaque 3,000 confirmed kills, that kind of thing. But there's a long tradition of having one on the grounds of a distillery where you floor malt. And so that was just kind of a nice thing to have. So now
I love that you said this, Todd, because I don't know that we've any of the distillers say this ever.
And I don't think I've ever seen a distillery cat.
Ever.
Well,
I love it.
And now it's kind of a superstitious thing to me now. I think everyone has to have one.
Well, I think that, who doesn't like having a cat around? Dogs, I think, would run around a little too much, but it's a tradition to have it when you have floor maltings, which we have on site, and we'll get to that in a minute. But these are two fishing stills that we use. To the only from Germany because they specialize in making these types of stills. This is our original still here that we got way back in 2000. This is actually made out of hand-hammered copper. So the round dome part, and I have to put my glasses on here so I can see what the hell I'm looking at. Sorry. This is hand-hammered copper heat. It started out as a flat sheet of copper and was crafted into this beautiful round shape using what's called the shape bench and 22 hammers. It's quite a work of art. I've stopped making those stills, unfortunately, because they're expensive to make anymore. But these are the stills that we use where I'm looking for a very refined aroma to use for our gins, for when we're distilling botanicals to make our absinthe. Aroma is really important. The next set of stills, we got 3 what are called clone stills here, all in a row that are the exact same shape and size, so that when I put our Maryland rye in here, for instance, for distillation or bourbon, even though we're putting distill, we're going to get the same distillate coming up because the shape is the same. And here you can see beer that we have on the floor from Belgium. I don't know if you're aware, but for the last month, we've been distilling their donated beer. We're over 40,000 gallons of New Belgium beer that they've donated, and we're distilling it into 95% spirit. And that 95% spirit, 95% spirit is the base for hand sanitizer. Mm-hmm. So I've been donating, been making almost 1,000 gallon a week of this hand sanitizer and donating it to police stations, fire departments, first responders, Boulder, City of Thornton, City of Denver, you name it. But it's been a really wonderful project that we've been a part of to try and help in some way. I think we all, in this situation, everybody feels a little bit helpless and like can't control things. So I think all of us are trying to find, all right, well, what can I do? What I do to have the situation in New Belgium stepped up immediately, and we had to work out all the logistics. You have to have the beer that's carbonated. You put carbonated beer still and boil it. What happens to the foam? So there's all the technical things that need to get out of the way. But of course, as you know, my training is in brewing, so that really facilitates the whole thing and made the supply chain much easier. But that's the one that's run. So we'll walk over.
Todd, as you're walking, what was your favorite beer you were growing up? Were you a connoisseur or were you a PBR kind of guy?
Oh, God, no. I was a snob. So I was one of those people that was drinking Guinness. The instant was legal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, know what you mean.
I just was always into it, and that's why I decided to apply brewing school because I was just a fan of beer and was curious about it and fell in love with Hefeweizen very early. And I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember Tabernash brewing.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So that's what got Eric that made Tabernash beer wrote a book on how to make wheat beer. And on the book jacket, it says that he studied in a German brewing school. I'd never heard of such. What? There's a brewing? So that's it. I was hooked because I just loved his beer so much. I've never had a chance to run into him to thank him, but he's the reason I got into this in the first place.
How cool is that?
Great story.
And so this one that I have here, the Maryland style rye whiskey, that off the still that we were just looking at.
I'll flip that again. So this pot still here, there's 3 of them that are identically shaped, and the shape of the still affects condensate. So if you can think about me bringing the whiskey to a boil in this still, it's going to turn into vapor and trap the sun's neck over the lime, which is the angled thing that's at 45-degree angle into a condenser. So the shape of the still and the amount of surface area of copper that you have here dictates what compounds will condense and fall behind in the pot. So if I change the shape of the still, different compounds are condense on the inside of the still during the boiling process, and I can make the whiskey more heavily flavored or lighter flavored, depending on how much of the surface area there is. So that's where still design comes in, and these are all Todd designs. And if you can see, a lot of surface area there, relatively speaking. The reason for that is I want as much of the rye or the corn and the barley and the fermentation flavors to come over into that distillate, because rye whiskey and bourbon are very big whiskeys. And so I want to make sure that all those flavors come over, and so that's the design of that. This is our first vodka still, and this is a pot still. And the reason its end doesn't have a whole lot of room for that reflux is that we're going to distill it a second time in a column. So you can see right now, I think the distillate coming out, and we haven't distilled beer like this in a long time, so the whole place smells like beer, which is a bit strange for us. It's a very different aroma, but because they're adding hops in together with the grain, whereas our bourbon and rye, there's no hops at all, so the aroma is quite different. And what we're going to do after this distillation is take it over to our vodka column, which is right here. You can see this on the outside. This is just a nice window for people that come into tourists to see, because the room itself, here's the pot. The column, there's 3 of them. One column here. You can see 2 more columns here. They're split because if we stack one column on top of the other, the building would be about 90 feet tall. So as a result, what we're trying to do here, this is my first rodeo place, so I'm doing the best I can.
And you're doing a wonderful job, again, taking a tour right now, Leopold.
So the vodka is out of this little, what's called a spirit sphere. So you can kind of see the hydrometer up in the hydrometer there. That lets you know how much alcohol we have coming out and what the percentage is. And the part that we're laughing at that is we're distilling this vodka because it's going into hand sanitizer. You can kind of see a tote behind me where it's going to be turned into hand sanitizer. Quality is irrelevant. So we're laughing at how easy it is when you don't care what the heck comes out of the other end. The only quality measure we have is it has to come out at 95% alcohol. You take that 95% alcohol, you add glycerin or glycerol if anybody wants to nerd out much. But everybody knows what glycerin is. The glycerin makes it so that when you have it at such high a proof, it evaporates almost instantly if you put it on your hands. The glycerin makes it so it won't evaporate, it hold on the surface. And if you've ever wondered, I guess we're already down the rabbit hole here. Basically, what it does is it dissolves the cell membrane on a virus. So that's how alcohol works. It just completely dissolves it. And you add a little bit of oxidizer in there. The oxidizer is hydrogen peroxide. And what that does is basically robs oxygen molecules off of that same membrane and kills them good and dead. So that's what hand sanitizer does, basically. And then,
what else does it do? What does it do to your skin? Just the afterthought, like just immerse your body in that.
I wouldn't advise doing that. I can tell you, everybody is finding out whether we're talking about soot and water or whether we're talking about we've pail with alcohol here that we're using to sanitize everything and clean our hands. My hands are taking a beating. It's just, it dries your skin out. Is the long and the short of it.
Yeah.
But that's why the professional companies, they'll add things, aloe and whatever else to try to that from happening. But we're obviously in an emergency situation here. So anyway. So
hey, Todd, just to restate, you said vodka goes 9 feet of column. Is that accurate?
That is, and wow. It's 52 separate plates. And what it's doing is that same action I explained to you works on the pot still. With the one I showed you for the rye is called the lembic still. This is basically a much more aggressive separation of water and ethanol in the vodka column. That's too complicated for me to get into without boring you to tears 30 minutes. So I'm just going to go. But suffice to say, it's cleaning up that spirit and separating the water from the alcohol much more aggressively because it's, and if anybody wants to come on a tour whenever they get to do this again, yet the wonderful thing about coming on a tour at Leopold Brothers, we're not really very good at marketing, but what we are good at is educating. So when you come here, we'll explain to you how vodka is made, and it's so much easier when you can come in and look at these open ferments. You can
stick my head down.
You can smell the carbon dioxide, that's coming off together with all the fermentation compounds. So you get an idea, what a mash looks like, and understand the process intimately because you're walking. It's so much easier for people to learn when you can see what you're talking about. So it really is a kind of a liquid classroom in explaining how distillation is. And the one thing that I learned in my career is that people very much look at what I do as alchemy or magic, that it's a black box and they don't necessarily understand it before they come on a tour. And I kind of think it's magic too, because of course, everything that's sitting in front of you there was a gift at least twice. And it's kind of hard to wrap your head around that, right? That process occurred to make those beautiful teas that you have in front of you.
Mm-hmm. So, what's your favorite distillate?
Oh, that's the favorite question.
Is it really?
Oh, yes. Whatever is in front of me. I remember having a chat with Jake Morris, whom I admire greatly, the original distiller at Stranahan's, that he thought I was crazy because I made so many different things. And I lovingly thought he was crazy because he was doing the same thing every day. And I couldn't imagine, looking at a calendar in 2023 and knowing I'm going to be making malt whiskey again. I wouldn't enjoy that. We like making different things here. It keeps us engaged. We like coming out with new spirits. And so it's a little bit more fun. So these are our own fermenters here. I'm going to keep moving here so I don't.
Please do.
Don't miss
them.
You can see those windows that are to the outside. I'm going to flip them. So the windows that you see opened out. I flipped. I did not. Sorry.
Not yet. You're fine.
I'll figure it out. I promise. There we go. Nope.
Not yet. Maybe it's done flipping.
Yeah, I mean, it's had enough of my nonsense, and it's just not going to do it
it's
anymore.
Done flip. There it goes. Yeah, I think it's just a less responsive. There we go.
There we go. So open fermenters, open out into a garden. And what that garden, we're just going to go ahead and walk outside here. Of course, we're not designed to do that right now. Hopefully our reception will improve a little bit.
Now this I love this so much. I just really do.
Todd, and what's your address?
5285 Joliet Street. And so now you can see the outside, and here are the fermenters. And these open up in the spring, the late summer, fall. And we had planted outside our lavender and rose bushes, all kinds of aromatics here. Of course, they're all trimmed back and don't look very spectacular. We've got crab trees and a couple of other trees that what we're doing is design the building so that These are air intakes. So every other brewery, distillery, if you're making sausage, a food plant, it's always filtered air in and positive pressure out. So if you go to open the front door, you'll get a whiff of air. They're trying to keep bacteria out of the building. We're doing the opposite. We're trying to encourage getting wild yeast bacteria into those wooden fermenters. So over the years, we're going to get a unique microorganisms living in those fermenters. So we've noticed here, and we made whiskey at a plant that's about 4 blocks away from here. What we've gotten here is a unique orange marmalade flavor that has popped up because of the unique bacteria that we have living in the fermenters that are creating flavor that you would get any other way. So that kind of the idea. So it's very similar to lambic brewing process. And now we can see across the way on our campus, this is our dunnage warehouse. And this is our original malt tun here. We use Fulton. We'll check back in on that here in a second. We're going to just kind of duck in here real quick, if you don't mind, into our dunnage warehouse.
Oh, this is so cool.
A few thousand barrels of aging whiskey here.
Whoa. Hello, folks.
Oh, wait till you see the setup in here. Oh, please, for goodness sake, don't kill the connection. Let's be on our luck. It'll pop back in. I have pure confidence that it'll pop back in.
To be honest, so I could there we go. Stare at those barrels all day long.
No, it goes for a football field almost.
Yep. So this is obviously many years work. We have in here. We're just about to release our bottled and bond bourbon that'll be 5 years old and at 8% alcohol. Coming up here late summer, early fall. And you can see here, I call this dunnage warehouse. It's wooden, I guess you could call them ricks to stack the barrels. And this is ordinarily something that you would see in Scotland, this type of setup with the earthen floors. But the reason we use it is it's so dry in Colorado. So what we're trying to do with this building is find a natural and environmentally sustainable way to get more moisture up in the air. So the warehouse is about 20 to 25% more humid than the outside. And that's because we've got plants that's around the perimeter with some nice drainage here. And what this is we got drip irrigation. It gets moisture in the earth so that we don't have predators in here, thankfully. Nobody wants to work on mud. But what it does is that moisture comes up out of the earth, out of the ground, gets more moisture in the air. And what that does, it slows the evaporation rate. So the typical Four Corners distillery, Arizona and Texas as well, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, because there's so little water in the air, what happens is that the water in the air holds back the evaporation of the whiskey and the water out of the barrels. So a lot of distillers, if you've been to Strand stores or at Laws, this is a great way to handle it. What they do is they age inside, and they basically have atomizers. They wet the air basically to try and make it so that evaporation rate would be double digits a year. So a Texas distillery that gets 15% a year. Because of this little setup right here, and the building there's no power in here. We're just letting Colorado do its thing. Our evaporation rate per year is 4.1%.
Wow, congratulations.
And so give an eye to the folks of what that would mean just barrel wise. So if a barrel, have you even done that math?
Oh, of course. If I did, my mother would fire me. Yes, very much. The difference between 4 and 15, for the barrels behind us, assuming they all go to maturation, is over $2 million by the time done.
Wow.
So it's one of the few times that my brother gave me a handshake and said, "Shut up." But it's an engineering joke. Gives out compliments like manhole covers, and it's not fair, but it's a joke we're giving to him anyway.
Absolutely. You guys seem like the right 1-2 punch, though. We
are incredibly lucky. I don't know the first about finance. And he couldn't distill his out of a paper bag. But it's perfect because it also means we don't get into each other's way. And it keeps us.
What's your most prized barrel back there?
Oh, well, that's an easy. Well, I don't know. I don't think I can. I think I'll lose you.
Oh, really?
I have Sara and I have a daughter who's 5 years old. And we put a barrel down the week that she was born, and she gets when she's 21. So
wow!
So that's a pretty easy answer there.
How old is she now?
She is 5 and will be 6 in the fall, which of course means the whiskey is 6 in the fall. So it's getting there. So I'm going to flip again. Now you're going to have a better understanding of the campus of vodka column.
Cool. Let me quick reset here, Todd. Todd Leopold with us, Leopold Brothers tour right now. Denise Mickelsen coming up. She's watching the stream, I think. Denise, buy us a few minutes. We're going to finish up the interview. Dr. William Bland at 3 and 15. Larry Herz, 3:45. Dr. Sara Metz. In the meantime, we're going to take this baby for probably another 5, 6, 7 minutes to finish up. Thanks. Continue on, please.
You can see the column now, the section. So you can see again why it was important to move that column into 3 pieces. It's already tall enough as it is. This right here is the tasting room. That is our old kiln. And now you can see our big expansion. So I think the timing will be about perfect on this. So those are intake silos to see. So barley, color, and
has his video trying to adjust itself. That's a massive malting house. I think is 1 or 2 of the largest in the world.
Long before I showed up on this earth, and so as a result, world-class grain farming here in Colorado, where farming for commodity is one thing. Farming for very targeted nitrogen content, moisture content, all of those kinds of things. It's much more of a much more difficult practice. And so you can see our new kiln that will dry about 20,000 pounds of grain in a batch that takes about 36 hours. And now this is our malting floor. And because of my brother and his efficiency, the lights timed out and turned off. So I'll try and help give you a little bit of scale here. So this is our steep, and we can steep again about 22,000 pounds of Colorado 2-row barley. And this is our malting floor that you see behind us. So this is a few thousand square feet.
For those who don't know, you say malting floor. I mean, that's literally what that is. Talk about what that means.
So what that is malting, and I'm going to step a little bit out. So hopefully you get a bit better reception. Quite designed for internet just yet. Malting process is a process of taking barley or a seed and tricking it into thinking it's in the ground. So the difference between the malt brewers use and raw barley is the malting process. And the whole purpose to it is to synthesize enzymes. When you steep the barley in cool water for about 48 hours, it pushes the moisture content close to 50%. The easy way to think about it is popcorn, right? Unpopped popcorn. The flinty end is the embryo. The white fluff part eventually is this food reserve for that embryo to get energy and to get bacteria to grow rootlets. Okay? So it's the same thing for barley. You steep it in cool water for 48 hours, and then you get it out of this for several days, allowing it to germinate. What happens during that germination period, the germ can't consume starches any more than yeast can. So what it does is takes proteins, synthesizes an enzymes, and enzymes break the starches down into simple sugars. So that's the purpose of malting, is to synthesize enzymes. And everybody here who's watching, I'm sure you're from Colorado, everybody's been on a brewery tour. In the mash tun, you mix hot water with grain, and that activates the enzymes in the malt that break down the starches into simple sugars, and you feed that to yeast. The malting process is where you synthesize enzymes, okay? And after that process is gone for a bit, if you let it keep going, you're going to have a bunch of barley plants. So after a few days, what you do is stop that process, and you stop it the way that you started in the kiln. You start by getting that water uptake, and you stop that process by getting that water out. So what this is here with kiln is basically it's a stainless steel grate, and you're going to put the, and someone locked the door on me because of course.
Because
How if you're looking here, so I'm standing in the kiln and looking up.
wow.
It's a stainless deck. So what I'm going to do is take that malted barley that, again, the germinated barley that's germinated on the floor, it's almost 50% moisture. I'm going to put it on this stainless steel grate, and you can see the hole behind me. That's where the warm air comes in. It's going to be piled on that stainless steel grate. The wet barley is to about 3 feet tall, and warm 120-degree air is going to run through it, get that moisture content down to about 10%. It's end dry. At that point, that's where the artistry comes in. How much heat, how long, at what temperature to cure that barley to get that moisture content down to 4%. That dictates do bread flavors, biscuit flavors, do I get toffee flavors. And that's how you make all the different kinds of malt. And last bit, this is probably the only time anybody's going to see something like this, or many of your viewers anyway. If I was in Scotland, I would burning peat underneath that deck, and that smoke would drift up through that stainless steel grate, and get that wet barley going to uptake all of that beautiful smoke flavor, and that's how you make smoked malt.
Man, I just learned so much right there.
Isn't it cool?
So, here's a question that some folks are probably: Why do you need such a big malting room? What are you going to use it for?
Well, the first malting floor we walked past, because again we'd be here for days. We made that for ourselves. Made it as we can. My brewing education in Germany and Chicago taught malting. And I begged my brother to let us put it in. Again, because we had access to world-class barley, that wasn't a heavy lift where I had to reinvent an entire supply chain. And it gives me an elite quality-wise. So instead of having to buy malt off shelf that has a specific flavor, I can get the exact flavors that I'm looking for. And we got into this business, the people who know us well,
So cool.
at Leopold Brothers, we like making things. That's why we got into this. It's so much fun. And to answer your question as to why we went larger, every time a brewery or distillery would come in to tour, because of course we do so many projects with Belgium and Slope, and we've done really fun ones with Avery, they all asked, hey, can I get this malt? And we kept saying no. We just don't have the capacity, and this building is us finally being able to say yes.
Now the answer is yes. Talking to you has been very refreshing, but also very depressing that my skill sets in life are not that many at all.
Hey, listen, it's a joke in my family, and particularly with Sara, my wife, that I'm not very good at too many other things. So whenever I am ham-fistedly doing something poorly, I look at her and say, I have other skills, honey.
That's right. Good skills.
Yeah.
I love it too. It's a winner. I'd say good luck, but it's just continued success at this point in time, and I think you have a future, sir. I really do.
Well, I hope so. I think all of us need luck in this current environment, and obviously we lost half our customers, just like a lot of other folks. But I think it's safe to say all of us are worried about our friends in the restaurant industry. So I would imagine I don't have to tell your viewers, but try and order out. Try and keep as indie restaurants going as much as you can, and support local as much as you possibly can. They need the help, need our help. Community needs our help.
I love that. I didn't even have to cue you up for that, which I was going to, but you just jumped right in. I would be remiss as we exit here with you, Todd. Anything that you would like to leave with our listeners right now?
I just kind of did. Stay safe. We're all staying home for a reason. To make sure that our folks aren't overwhelmed basically everywhere, whether that means at a grocery store or a hospital. And write letters to your senators. It's something I did. I don't have much political power. I would say, fortunately, I don't. But to try what we can do to help. How do you help our frontline workers? How do you help the people that are unemployed? And I'm hoping that our government steps a bit. I know that our communities are. That's what I
Absolutely.
see. Try to keep your chin up. We're all doing best to stay positive with all of this stuff. Going down that negative rabbit hole is a bad place to go. So just let people know that we're all trying to work and figure out a way through this.
Thank you for allowing us a tour today and inviting us inside and showing us all of the cool, innovative things that you guys are doing and the hand sanitizer. Wow. Thank you for keeping us going with the hand sanitizer. Each and every was made.
We're helping the helpers. We're not in diddly compared to the people that are actually doing the work. So, but thank you so much for inviting me. I hope it made sense, and thank you.
There you go. Good stuff. Todd Leopold right there from Leopold
Cheers.
Brothers. Thank you, sir. All right.
Cheers.
Wow. Fun stuff, wasn't it?
He is such a neat guy.
Thanks
both of those brothers.
to Denise Mickelsen for standing by for us. We're going to get Denise up ASAP. And Molly Spirit now we're in the palatial liquid lounge. Look at behind us. I don't know if you guys can behind us, but Superstore. You can call it a superstore, right?
Yeah, that'd be fine. But hey, but I got a question. Would it be bad to say, I don't want to look with my eyes, I want to look with my mouth?
What do you? Yes, it would be bad to say that. Brian Freeman here, along with myself, Greg Hollenbeck, and Jay Parker. You're wondering, well, why are you guys at Molly's tonight? The Modern Eater will power Molly's Liquid Lounge, and they have Justin M. is their host, and he works here at Molly's. He's going to be doing a spirits tasting with Boulder Spirits and Ryan Negley, and also Jay Johnson from Bear Creek. So at 5:30, tune into Molly's Stream, and we've got her right now. This technology did not work out for us last time, but it looks like this time we might be good.
I think
so. Denise Mickelsen.
Hold on, I'm playing.
Yeah, Denise. Sure, no problem. These live streams are all so interesting. You get what you get, and sometimes it's really funny, and other times it melts down. We've had them all. Denise Mickelsen, 5280 Magazine, just doing great work, and you and your team. Denise, for folks that don't know, and that's kind of silly to say because I think everybody knows you, but for folks that don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Denise. I'm the food editor at 5280 Magazine, and I am currently also a homeschool teacher, apparently, because that's what's happening in my life.
So, Denise, tell me, I've been living in a cave for the last 10 years. What is 5280?
Thanks. You mean really broad. Okay. 5280 is the Denver Mile High lifestyle magazine. We cover everything from sports and politics to how to live best life in Colorado, which of course includes food and drink, right?
Oh my goodness, a lot of it. And we are seeing now, as folks have kind of the shock phase and into the grieving phase and kind of the acceptance phase, what are we dealing with here? Just seeing a lot of great stuff from our community, aren't you, Denise?
It's inspiring every day. And, watching talk about going down that rabbit hole, every time I do, the way to pull myself out anyway is to think about all the helpers. Think of how many of our chefs and operators are doing everything they can every day from the minute they wake up and petition and frontline workers and just doing everything that good people do. Our industry is so filled with the best people.
I know you see another gentleman joining us here. The viewers can't see him yet. That's our next guest. That's Dr. William Blanchet from Boulder Internal Medicine. So doctor's standing by, but we're with Denise Mickelsen right now. I want to touch upon a couple of things here. First of all, this is really inspiring. It's called Double Down. And I want to kind of hand it over to you because you did a great piece, an April 20th piece. Denise Mickelsen writes, and here's the headline: How Buying Gift Cards Now Helps Save Your Favorite Independent Restaurants Later. Take it from there, Denise, if you would.
I will. So I was lucky enough to share with our readers that there's a really wonderful campaign going on right now to save not only our local independent restaurants, which we all depend on and love so, but also there's an organization behind those restaurants called Eat Denver. It is a small two-person operation, really one and a half, one full-time, one part-time. Katie Laser is the executive director, and her entire job and what Eat Denver does is provide information, training, and all manner of circle independent restaurant operators. They have a listserv that is a running Google conversation of who has the best HVAC repair guy, and who has a dishwasher they can borrow for that evening, and all the things that as a small business owner you really need. Plus, they advocate on behalf of local restaurateurs at the government level, and they also throw a lot of events. And the problem with that is that there are no more events right now. So Eat Denver is this lifeline of communication and resource and education for our independent operators is about to run out of funding and might not be here when restaurants really start to reopen. And that is when the restaurant owners need Eat Denver the most. So it's a horrible irony. And Stephanie Bonin, who is a founder of Eat Denver and owner of Duo Restaurant over on Island, this wonderful idea that why don't we try to do a little twofer and save the restaurants in Eat Denver by doing a gift card buy campaign. So if you buy gift cards at Eat Denver right now, there are 217 restaurants, and it's everybody. I mean, it's Tap and Dough, and it's Bar Dough, it's all doughs. And
it goes on. I mean, I can't believe it. It's a no-brainer, right? It's super local, and
right.
It's all laid out for you there.
It's really easy. So if you buy a gift card to any of the 217 restaurants, Eat Denver there's a matching grant to also fund Eat Denver. So some sponsors came in, Campari, and some other local sponsors, and it's a twofer. So buy one gift card and you're helping restaurants and the organization that helps them. And it's important. We have to help as much as we can if you can.
So you're going to do that anyway. I mean, get the gift card, but make sure that it's part of the double down. Yeah. Is there a process that people have to do, or do you just contact the restaurant directly? How do you do the double down? How do you participate?
You can buy through the Eat Denver website, or you can just go to your favorite restaurant, check and make sure it's an Eat Denver member. The story I wrote on 5280.com includes all 217 restaurants and links to go straight to sites. And thank you to my intern for linking every single one of those. Katie, you're awesome. And so, yeah, you can go and donate, and Eat Denver gets their matching money, which is really fantastic.
And there are some great restaurants on that. I was looking.
Like all of your favorites are on there.
I mean, it's like the bind. Well, one of them I love. Lynn Thompson. She does such an incredible job, such an incredible woman, her story behind her. She's one place that I would be dumping, deep in.
Think of a restaurant, it's like a pop quiz, and look at that list, tell me it won't be on there. I mean, that's 217 restaurants that want to have been on the other end of this. I want them all to move.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a dire time. Our restaurant industry is impaired. It can happen. We have to do it.
I couldn't agree more. It's just a funny little thing. So earlier on, we're here at Molly Spirits today, and I actually had their PR gal, Molly, print me up a couple of articles that I have. And she looked at the thing, the 217 restaurants. Do you want me to print that? I said, save some paper because it goes on forever. Go online, check it out. Don't print it like I did. But the restaurant list is, the length of your leg, right? I mean, it's long, and it's, to me, it's a no-brainer. You're absolutely right. And what an organization with Eat Denver, Katie Laser, right? I mean, never
one of the best people.
Just there.
Well, and it's sad because their trade show would have been at the end of March.
Oh,
and I think that one of her food show is one of the best for, Growers Organic has been there, since the beginning. And it's just one of those places that if you're local and you're looking to support the local food movement, you go to the Eat Denver show. And so it was sad that this year was canceled.
Oh, I was so bummed. I sent a text that day and said, I want to go to the food show today. Wine.
Lots of innovation going on here, so I can't wait to see what else is up their sleeve, because I have a feeling that food show will turn into morph into something else. I'm here from the stream, Rebecca says, Denise Mickelsen, love the hat. I have the same one. Great hat to support all of Denver.
Yeah, I'm sporting it. Why not? Everybody wears baseball. We're in Colorado. I'm at home, and yeah.
You know what everybody else is doing, and you wrote about this too. Here they are, more virtual drinking and dining events to keep you connected. There's a lot of these too.
Parties going on. I had to print that because let me tell you, I am now teaching fractions. I don't have room in my head for all these details, but we can talk about it because there are so many parties happening this weekend and going forward. If you would like to stay connected to our industry, hospitality, man, there are many opportunities.
Now, I've been trying to plead to Jay Parker, the guy behind the scenes. You rarely see him on camera. But Jay, I've been telling him he doesn't drink, first of all. I say, you don't need to drink to participate with sing. I'm thinking this might be a great way to actually get to know somebody for who they are.
Some of are on Zoom, and then you can see the people. Okay, you know what? There's one specifically. Here's one. I don't know if he's a beer lover, a Colorado beer lover, which most of us are, right?
Yes,
so,
yes, ma'am.
Weldworks, one of our best breweries, right? Amazing award-winning craft brewery in Greeley. Tonight, in fact, is not the date night event I have in mind for him, but I'm a matchmaker. But tonight I do have an event at 6 o'clock, but this is all via Zoom, and doing a state of the craft beer industry roundtable discussion. That's really cool if you're a hardcore beer geek and you really want to know what's going on. They're suffering is what's going on, but also yummy beer is still being made. But then on the 26th at 2 o'clock, they're doing 55 people only, and me and talk to the founder and head brewer, Neil Fisher. And I've spoken to him. I've had the opportunity to talk to him on the phone, and he's fascinating. Mm-hmm. And his story is great. He's going to do a tasting flight and conversation. Only 55 people. So if even still any spots left, I would get on that quickly for him. Meet someone who also loves beer on the same thing.
I like it. It's a comprehensive list, and I don't know how you keep up on it. I guess people contact you and put it in, and you get all details, and the lists are right. I mean, it's all just your one-stop shop.
Journalism, my friend. Service journalism. Yeah, well, okay, another one, if you're single or not single, Bar Helix, which throws like the best parties in town. I mean, always. Kendra Anderson is the most fabulous person in Denver, essentially. She has Bar Helix down in Rhino, but she's doing a thing for $5 full. What is it? DJ Chris Millie is going to be spinning Caribbean beats, and you can go and pick up cocktail kits and food and everything else, and it's going to be an amazing DJ party. You don't want to miss a Bar Helix party. So that is tomorrow. There you go.
Okay, Denise Mickelsen, what is on the horizon? What are people buzzing about right now? I seem to think that it's going to be talking about how to make folks comfortable going back into dining rooms. Is that what you're feeling right now, or what are you feeling?
I think it's about, yes, how diners will feel, but also what about how the chefs and staff feel, that are in the restaurants. There's a lot of conversation about that now. What's it going to look like? What's it going to feel like? Does it make any
Oops, she cut out for a second. Can you hear us, Denise? Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot.
We'd like to talk to her some more because I've got some questions for her.
And against clock. Denise, I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you anymore, which is terrible. Can you leave the chat room and try and plug back in if you can hear me? You cannot hear me.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Exit the chat room and come back in. Then come. I know you can't hear me. Shoot, I wonder how that happened. Dang it.
I can try texting her.
Well, text her.
Yeah.
I think we have to for her time right now. Shoot. Bye. Bye. Sorry, Denise. Oh, man. I want to figure out what. We'll have her back. We'll have Denise back for sure. Jay, thank you. Great job doing that. And folks that are tuning in right now, we are live from Molly's Spirits. And look at it. It's a palatial place here. Molly's Liquid Lounge is where we're at, the bar right here. This is their tasting bar. And couldn't think of a better place to do a tasting then right here. So tonight at 5:30 on Molly's Spirits stream, you'll be able to tune in to Molly's Lounge with their host, Justin M. And two guests today would be Jay Johnson from Bear Creek Distillery and also Ryan Negley from Boulder Spirits. So that's tonight, 5:30. Be there.
Be on the Zoom is where it will
no
be.
Zoom.
Or no Zoom. It's on their website.
Be on the stream.
I
was going to have you do be there, don't be square. Don't goof, bring your proof. You know, that thing. Dr. William Blanchet, here he is, back on the stream. Doctor, where are you right now, Doctor?
Actually, hang on a second.
Yeah, turn us off in the background.
There we go. That's better.
Yeah. Thank you.
How's it going?
Good to see you. Glad you could make it back.
I was listening to previous guests. A brilliant idea. People are always wanting to do something nice for first responders and for the people in the grocery store, for people who are stocking the shelves in the grocery store, who are exposed, people who have worked in the food industry who don't have a job. You were talking about buying gift certificates. What a great gift. $100 gift certificate for 10 different restaurants, and give one to the guy stocking the shelf in the grocery store. Give one to the kid next door who used to be a waiter at a restaurant who's now unemployed. And you're giving it twice. You're giving it to somebody who will benefit from having a gift certificate, and you're buying the gift certificate from the restaurant who will benefit from selling the gift certificate. So you're doubling down on your gift.
Well, they're already doubling down. What would that be again? And really, the doubling down, the only time I double down is when I get my ass handed to me in Vegas on a blackjack table. So to have that, the term doubling down actually means something good.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's much needed. Doctor joins us, Dr. William Blanchet, Boulder Internal Medicine, right from Molly's Liquid Lounge. It's Thursday, Doctor. We figured we might want to have a little bit of Leopold.
We've turned her the bottle at this point.
Okay. So let's talk, and we want to have you back because first, let's have food service in your heart and your family.
Well, yeah, I've always loved food. I've always loved a good restaurant. It's been a special occasion. Go to a restaurant, spend several hours, spend some money, having a special evening. My son-in-law is a chef. He worked in Olympia, Washington. My oldest daughter, has been in food service all her life. She's currently managing a small boutique coffee shop in Olympia. So I'm seeing what's happening with this cover with respect to their jobs, their ability to make a living, their ability to sustain what they're doing. And it's not easy. It's just not easy. And how do we get back to doing that safely without, reinstating an endemic with this virus? And in Denver,
how do you, Doctor? Please tell us how.
Here's a way we could do it, but we're not gonna. But this would work. When you look at people 30 under who get this virus, very few get sick. When you look at 40 and under, very few get sick. So if we open up the economy and said everybody who's 30 and under who doesn't live with parents or grandparents, go back to work. And after work, go to the bar and have a beer. Because they will get the virus, they will not get sick, except for a very small percentage. And almost no one in that age range dies. And so we said, let's open up the economy for people under the age 30. Let's start creating some herd immunity. Then once they do that, then let's do it for people under the age 40. That works pretty well. Now create some herd immunity. We put the 40-year-olds in.
Let's do this before you continue on, because I think, Doctor, a lot of people may go scratch their head and go, herd immunity, like I heard that HERD immunity.
Right.
Please talk about that real quick.
So herd immunity is when enough people within an area, geographic area, population area, have had antibodies against infection. And those antibodies can come from a vaccination, they can come from having had the disease. A certain percentage of people have immunity against that disease has trouble spreading throughout that community. And so forget 70% of people with immunity to this disease cannot become an epidemic. Because if one
was that kind of like when I was 8 years old and Bobby down the street had chicken pox and my mom made me stay home to play with him?
Yeah. This is almost identical to chickenpox and measles and mumps, because chickenpox, measles, and mumps in children is a reasonably benign disease. COVID-19 in children is a very benign disease. Measles, mumps, and chickenpox in adults is a terrible disease. COVID-19 in adults is a terrible disease. So we're kind of like Native Americans who were introduced to measles to the Europeans, and they had never seen it, and it was devastating for the Native American population. With COVID virus, we as old folks, can't call you guys old folks, me as older folk, if there's a 25% chance I'll be in the hospital, there's a 4% chance I'll be dead. Someone who's 8 years old gets the disease, there's a greater chance they don't even know they're sick and that they're sick.
Doctor, can I ask?
Please.
Doctor, I have a question in regards to that, because I there's a big part of me that is so on board with that herd immunity. There's another part of me that's concerned because, and listen to the doctor, I'm just a layman, but I was under the impression we know very little about COVID and that it's continuing to morph. And not only that, but I was speaking with someone the other day, friend died, 41 years old. His significant other was a first responder. She had to come down. They went on a Saturday, got tested. He came up positive. Sunday, he was dead.
What's the question?
The question there was somebody told me there's a form of Ebola in this COVID, and I don't know if that's true or not. But because several first responders told me that people are hemorrhaging out, and that's a symptom of Ebola. Is there truth to this, and would that throw in kinks in the herd immunity?
Yeah. So there are about 3 questions within that question. So the first thing, is there any Ebola mixed up with COVID-19? Answer is no. And Ebola, as it turns out, because Ebola is so fatal and so quickly fatal, it doesn't have the potential of creating a pandemic. A few people get it, they die, their relatives die, everybody stays away, and the disease goes away. Ebola is actually a vicious disease to create a pandemic. COVID-19 is a disease to create a pandemic because a lot of people get it and don't get sick. Some people get it and get moderately sick, and some will get it and get incredibly sick. So the person who's having a hemorrhaging, the person who goes from being okay to being dead in 24 hours, for whatever reason, their body just exploded with inflammation in response to this virus. So this is all the phase of COVID-19. Some of them act like Ebola, but it's not Ebola. It is COVID-19. What it turns out, because of the way it works, is so worse than Ebola, because Ebola doesn't have potential of being a pandemic. It has the potential of doing a lot of damage in small areas. It's not going to hit the world. COVID-19 rides that wave and hits the world. And in some people, it's every bit as nasty as Ebola, and a lot of people it's not. We will get herd immunity when enough people get infected. The sheltering in place prevents us from overwhelming the healthcare system. My hospital has adequate beds, my hospital has adequate ventilators, my hospital has adequate intensive care units. We have not overwhelmed the healthcare system. That's a success. The failure of shelter in place is we're coming nowhere close to herd immunity. If you need to get 70% of the population with antibodies, and we have maybe 1% of the population, optimistically 2% of the population. We're protecting ourselves. We're not getting sick, we're not dying, but we're not creating herd immunity, and this disease is still smoldering there. If we get a vaccination, great, that'll give us herd immunity. We get an effective treatment that keeps us from dying, then we can all go out and get sick and get herd immunity, and the disease will go away. But right now, we're kind of festering in place. We're sheltering in place, but the disease is festering while we're sheltering.
So true.
And someday we're going to have to cross that barrier and figure out what the hell to do with that problem. And my proposal is, and there's 2 ways to look at this. You can say, let the young folks go out. The other way is to really keep the older folks sheltered in place much longer. as we always.
Doctor, that's a great segue into what I wanted to ask you. I was having a conversation with my mother who has been sheltering in place alone for 5 weeks now. And I said, "Are you, ma'am, you ready to get back to things soon?" And she's like, "Yeah, but I think that if I go out in public right now, am I not the most vulnerable person out because of no herd immunity?" She was sick in December and said, "I almost wish that I was sick with coronavirus in December and then I test the antibodies to come back positive for myself." So what do we do with the elderly that have been hiding?
Basically, she's right. If she were to get the disease, she would be very likely to have a 50% chance of being in the hospital, maybe a 20% chance of dying. That's the simple reality of people in the upper age ranges. That's the concern. How do we cross that barrier? And hopefully we get some effective treatments. Someday we may have a vaccine, but right now for your mom, the answer is continue to shelter in place. And start opening up the economy, people start going back to work. If young people who are less likely to get sick are the people who go back to work, and older people who are more likely to die remain sheltered in place, then we will create some degree of herd immunity, and that will be a good thing. Will die in that process. There will be some 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds who will die. And that's a hard thing to say that we have to accept as reality, but that is reality. So I'm saying everybody go out because we have to recognize that if you as a young person go back to work and after you're worked, you go to the bar and get a drink. For you as a young person, that's fine. Just don't go visit your mom. Zoom, call her on the phone. Don't share air with mom if you're taking that position until we know that you have had the disease and you've gotten over the disease.
Can I hang out with her in her backyard at a safe distance?
You can hang out with her in the backyard at a safe distance, preferably with a mask. A good parameter is if you had a cigarette, would she smell your smoke?
Oh, man.
If she wouldn't smell your smoke, you don't need a mask. If you would smoke, you ought to be wearing a mask. Not saying you should be smoking, but just that as a metric.
No, I get it for sure.
Get to her, the virus from
Dr. William Blanchet in Boulder Internal Medicine. Getting back to kind of the restaurant or business in general, has the reaction or response for the outbreak been worth what we're seeing right now in the economy and in our lives, from what you're seeing just with data points and statistics?
Putting a value judgment on it is really, really hard. What I would say is if we had not sheltered in place, we would be out of hospital beds, we would be out of ICU beds, we would be out of ventilators. And so when people come in with COVID, that would be a problem. When someone comes in with pneumonia or a bowel obstruction or a heart attack, we wouldn't have a place for them either. And so not only will we lose more people from COVID than we're currently losing, we would lose more people from pneumonia and bowel obstructions and heart attacks than we're currently losing. From that perspective, I have to say, yes, it's worth it because we have not had the carnage we have had otherwise. The other way I look at it is our federal government has the ability to make this less problematic. Our federal government, the PP, for instance, loan that small businesses can get and pay the employees to not work. If small businesses apply for it and get that loan and keep their employees on salary, in most industries, food industry doesn't quite apply for the peculiarities of the food industry. In most industries, that will help keep the economy together. And when they're going to work, people still have money, people can still buy things. The economy gears back up very, very quickly. As you know, food industry is a difference because people in the food industry generally are paid below survival and they make it up on tips. And the CPP doesn't count tips in the food industry. I think that the federal government does it right. When this is over, the economy will bounce back quickly. And if that's the case, then yeah, juice is worth the squeeze here. If, however, we turn this into a long-term recession where people dying from hunger, people not being able to access healthcare because they don't have money to do it with, then the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. But at some level, because our healthcare is scaled to just exactly what's needed, and we can't take a bump like this and take care of the people, at least in the short term, we'll have to make this thing. So it'd be
last one for me. Dr. Brian might have another one. Last one for me. We're seeing states reopen. Georgia, other states in the union. Is it too soon to back the thing? And the answer is yes. When will we know?
right. With Georgia and Ohio jumping back in, and Missouri pretty soon jumping back in, a couple of things might happen. It might be that citizens in those states will say, okay, the government has to do this, but I'm going to stay sheltered in place anyhow. Only the young and the bold to go out and do things, in which case it will work out pretty well. But if everybody says, okay, great, I haven't gone to Joe's for a beer, a long time I'm going to Joe's for beer, and 50, 60, and 70 go out to Joe's for beer, we may have an explosion of this epidemic in biblical proportions. So I'm holding my breath the next 3 weeks with respect to Georgia and Ohio, because this is an incredible experiment we're running here, and it might be catastrophically bad. I pray that it's not. I hope that that little experiment works and we don't see an explosion. My prediction is we'll see an explosion of coronavirus in those states. And so we'll see. Next 3 weeks will tell us.
I've got a quick one.
Sure, do it.
Do you think it's responsible, and do you think that we have the technology that if we decided in Colorado to let people go back in to the restaurants, should it be mandatory that people have to have a test before they go back in serving food?
I think that it's going to be mandatory for people to do a great job of washing their hands, and probably the cooks and servers should be wearing masks, and people in the restaurant should wear masks until they're ready to eat, to minimize the risk of spread. I don't think that we have enough data to say that the 6-foot distancing actually prevents the disease. This is a theory that 6-foot distancing prevents disease. We don't have any data to prove it. And so I think that there needs to be an increased level of cautiousness when we open the restaurants. Because new virus and it's an environment, new experiment, we will see what happens over time. There's no guarantees. But I think that we can't not reopen the restaurants. We have to do it at some level. You know, in my business, there are things we do that are necessary, that we do that are not urgent all the time, things that are discretionary and put off. The last 6 weeks, we've been putting off everything that can be put off. Well, we're evaluating, can we start seeing non-emergency things in our office? And I think we can, but we do it differently. We're going to have as many people. We're going to make sure nobody interfaces with anybody else coming in and out of the office. So, yeah, those things we have to address, things we have to be creative. And I think it can be done. It's not going to make a restaurant profitable to be working at business. At least it's a start. And then over time, this should settle down and it should get better. And over time, we'll develop treatments for it. And we can start with spacing people who are doing a great job of just protecting the food, protecting the employees, protecting the staff. I'm not sure that protecting the staff is going to be practical anytime soon. In my office, I still have trouble getting adequate testing equipment. And in my office, it's still a 3-day turnaround to get the test back. And so when we have a test, the test for the virus turns around 20 minutes. And CLIA will, so you can have a nurse out at the restaurant doing it twice a week. That's great. I'd love that. Do it to the
Absolutely.
Test the customers, test the employees, fill the restaurant with people who have tested for free. We don't have it right now. We'll get that.
That will be the in the coming days and weeks ahead. That will be the topic of conversation. And as we all want to get back at things, there's got to be safety involved and comfort as well. So it's gonna get interesting, Doctor. We're gonna check back in with you often. You're a sweetheart of a man to join us all the time. We very much appreciate it. He's the talented Dr. William Blanchet from Internal Medicine, and probably be seeing me in the office there. I'd love to have you as my doctor. Really, your acumen and just bedside manner is exactly what a lot of people are looking for right now. We really appreciate you, Doctor.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Blanchet. He's been very patient. Come on over here. We've got the man. Have you? Here he is, Larry. Throw it on, Larry. You guys have to go back to our seating so we can see Larry. All right. Turn Larry up so we can hear Larry.
That's not something people say a lot. Usually they want to turn me down.
No, man, you're doing great. You're doing great stuff. Look at this. Which one would you like to drink out of here?
So I guess we have to have truth in advertising, right?
What's the truth?
We never talked about that. We have a drinks page, OCN Drinks.
No,
right?
I never did.
You didn't even know?
I didn't know.
Yeah, I got about 4,200 followers.
How far out?
Yeah, on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
But I am not a drink expert. I know what I know, as most people do, like beer, wine, vodka.
Sure.
I did a partnership with Molly's just this past weekend. I think I might have mentioned that to you.
Yeah.
And they ask you what you want. So I've never had any Scotch, bourbon, cognac, whiskey in my life.
Front door.
No brown.
I'm not down with the brown.
Interesting.
Wow.
I've never had a sip.
Well, how would you know, right? If you've never had a sip.
It
if you
smells like carrot.
So, what do you like? You beer?
I mean, I'm really
Do you
much
like cider at all? You don't drink much.
I don't drink much,
Yeah.
although I find myself drinking a lot more this last 6 weeks.
You know, which is so Larry Herz,
which is still less than most
Herz.
normal people.
Larry Herz.
Yeah.
Joining CN, some Freeman, Greg Hollenbeck, Jay Parker. We're Molly Spirits, 5:30 Molly Liquid Lounge kicked off the first edition out of 4, which will come to you here on Molly's Facebook page. So tune into that. That'll be a great couple of some Boulder Spirits. Jay John from Bear Creek Distillery, and then Justin M. going to be hosting that show. I'm looking forward to watching it myself. It's Molly's Liquid Lounge at 5:30, again on Molly's stream. Here with Larry Herz from OCN Eats.
And OCN Drinks.
And OCN. Well, now I can't give you the drinks title. if you're not. And that's because coming from that restaurateur background.
And I know.
I mean, it's easy to get into that, though, right? I mean, you got a full bar and never really jumped in, huh?
In case you haven't figured it out, weird dude.
Never high on your own supply.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Well, because you guys, Carmine's, you guys were known for your wine.
Yeah. I mean, I loved red wines back then, Barolos, Super Tuscans, Aronis, Nebbiolo, Sangiovese. But even now, like, my daughters are teenagers, right? So when they started getting to the age where I was worried about them drinking in the house, we just threw everything out, really, which wasn't much. So we don't really drink in the house. We don't alcohol in the house. Although Molly's, we partnered with this past weekend, and they gave us they asked you what you want, and so I got a bottle of Family Jones vodka. Love it.
Good.
The pomegranate liqueur, and then Cointreau, a bottle of Prosecco, orange juice, and that made for some tasty drinks this weekend.
Ooh,
I did. And my go-to brunch drink, which probably nobody here has ever had, is Red Bull, orange juice, pomegranate juice, and vodka.
Yeah, that sounds like
fantastic.
It's gonna wake you up. It's gonna take the hangover away. You're gonna get some sugar in you.
Sweet vodka Red Bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just so you know, I mean, I'm sure you know the signs of if the kids are drinking out of your hooch there, look for that condensation in the vodka bottle. I used to put water in my mom's vodka, and she'd put her Stoli in the freezer or whatever. It's like, I didn't know vodka, bro. Well, hey, listen, sorry about that.
Grey Goose, back in my 730 South restaurant days, they knew that's, I love vodka. So they made a Grey Goose bottle with the 730 South logo on it, nice etched in there. And of course, I poured it off in the restaurant and made some money off it, and then filled it with water and brought it home as a nice display. And whenever my kids have parties, I'm sure they're all going to that bottle and be disappointed. Time and time.
You are so cruel. That's fun. Did you hear that?
Teach them a lesson.
I love that.
Well, but that's interesting though, because
can't hear you.
You're in Europe.
No microphones.
No microphone.
Turn it on.
You can't hear me?
Well,
I hear you a little
bit now.
Right.
A little bit.
Well, you guys are going to have to survive without too much J today. Sorry about that.
We'll be all right.
I was talking to Larry because in Europe, it's totally different. It's you give the kids something young.
Yeah.
You give them a little wine when they're very young. You give them a little vodka when, especially like I went over to Poland.
You don't make it seem so taboo.
Yeah, and it's not because you make a big deal out of it. Yeah. We make a big deal out of it, and then they want it.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't those were my kids drinking. Actually, now I would never encourage my kids to drink. It's that when their friends come over and they find your liquor, It's the liability. And bottom line is, if it's not yours, they're going to sneak it in anyway.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I did. You know, I mean, and if they DUI leaving your house, you are responsible, even if they snuck it in.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
So we're not working with much technology here, just a video or
That's
whatever.
all right.
What do you want to describe something today, or what's going on? What did we want to talk about, Larry?
Jeez, there's always things.
I know.
What I've noticed, which we haven't talked about yet, is there's new thing in that people are figuring out ways to make a living. I don't know if you've been getting any DMs, seeing it around town. Cottage industries, people who are laid off are now making food out of their own house. Seen any of this?
Well, for food production.
So I'll give you three.
Is that legal? Can you do that?
Well, so we might not tell their names, but
I think you don't think you're allowed to do a certain
food production at home.
Food service, you're not allowed to produce in your own kitchen. The health inspector would potentially not be happy.
What else do you want to talk about?
Well, I think I'm going to plug these people anyway because I'm not worried about it, especially now.
All right.
I think let's just say they have commercial kitchens.
Yes.
I don't know how they produce it, but bottom line is they don't have storefronts. How about that?
Let's do that.
So there's Pints Peak. You can find them on Instagram. Nice lady. She makes unique flavors. She's got coffee donuts is one of her flavors. What else did she bring me?
Is this Larry?
No.
You got lunch for?
We got lunch, of course. That's not the name of the show, but
yeah, it is, Larry. You trust me. When more than one person comes up and says it's lunch for Larry, that means it changed.
No, nobody else has said it except you.
Oh, we'll see.
So you could order these people through their Instagram. Pints Peak, Pandemic Donuts, obviously just opened up.
Yes.
And then another donut yesterday. Donuts, those are my vice. That's what I.
Okay, Homer.
I love donuts too.
A whole show just donuts. But the landline donut, they're potato donuts. And all three of these will deliver to your office, your home. And the landline have a Ding Dong Ditch donuts. So you want to send some donuts to a neighbor?
Brilliant.
Yeah, they'll deliver, throw it on the door, Ding Dong Ditch, and you can send a nice note and donuts to your neighbor.
Yeah, instead of what we do, leave a bag of doo-doo on fire on the porch. You actually get something you want with the Ding Dong Ditch. Boy, Ida, the old lady, to my neighbor, have on her. Those are all great things. Donut. How many donuts can you sit?
So I have some issues with donuts. I limit myself to 2 a week. I'm only allowed donuts once, and I have 2 at a time. That's it. I buy 2. That's it.
What's your favorite?
So I'm a cake donut guy, and Herz Donut Company in Parker is my favorite donut right now in metro area. They've got fantastic variety of flavors. When 27.65, they're out of like Missouri, I want to say.
Well, and it hurts.
Yes, HURTS.
Not hers. Not hers.
Please,
No.
don't make
And
it's not Larry Herz Donut Shop.
it's the joke. Do you know the Herz donut joke?
No, something about
Good.
that.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Like I didn't get it all.
Yeah, what?
Did people say to you when you were a kid, "Do you want a Herz donut?" And you'd say, "What's that?" And they punch you in the arm. A Herz donut.
Oh, okay, that's a good.
So
one.
they made a whole chain out of this thing, and they have a
Herz donut. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. People
Yeah.
thought I was, so I'm not. It's obvious apparently, but they have they do a great job, but they also do gluten free on weekends. My wife is gluten free.
Yep.
And she went past loved. It's 2 different, basically it's cake or raised donuts, and cake the more dense one, raised is the light and airy ones. And so I'm a cake guy. I like an old fashioned sour cream. Whether I think Krispy Kreme, Voodoo does a good job, but Hertz has got just an incredible variety where I get a mint glazed one with Oreos on top.
Oh, you're going nuts.
And then they do a blueberry streusel one, and then they do a key lime filled one. Oh, my God.
And
I'm
any
a
shout
bear
out for the
claw
local
kinda guy.
guys? Those are local donuts.
Local, go to, it's not local. Lowe's is massive.
Now, I thought it was here in
No,
Colorado.
they're not from here. They're from, again, like Kansas City, somewhere around there. They're
Habit
100.
Donuts local, Voodoo Donuts local.
No,
Habit
Voodoo's out of
Voodoo-
style.
yeah,
Is it
Voodoo's
really?
not, yeah.
Damn it.
Or Portland.
What? Well, yeah. What?
So
are
I
those?
go to there is good local. There's the donut maker right over here on the other side of Arapahoe Road.
Prove it.
Oh, really?
I'm trying to buy for a donut right now. Don't worry about me.
Donut maker just on Arapahoe and Dayton. And then I like Lorna's, which used to be Lamar's on Lincoln, just east of I-25 on in Lone Tree. Lorna's Donuts. So,
All right,
I know a thing or two about
lunch
donuts.
with Larry.
Today's lunch with Larry.
Yes, sir.
What's for lunch? Was Los Dos Patrios.
Okay.
You met those guys?
I have not.
Got to get them in studio. So
Okay.
they are, do you know what Patrios means?
No.
I didn't know either. Patrios means stallions. So it's 2 stallions. So the father started it, it's the original location, Centennial, 12 years ago. That was their first unit. And he has the 2 sons, Enya and Denise. And so he named it after his 2 sons, 2 stallions. And now they're running the show. And these guys are intelligent, good looking, well built.
Like Italian.
Some of the sweet people.
Uh-huh.
And they now have 4 units. They're also in Littleton, Hines Ranch. So Littleton, Hines Ranch, and they opened their newest one in Parker about a year ago. And that one, they have a brewery in it. So they're brewing their own beer for all their locations.
Cool.
Make incredible beer, since we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
liquor while we're here in Molly's.
Mm-hmm.
And they're selling colors right there in the store. They brought us today some margaritas. I might have had 1 or 2 at lunch.
Boy, Larry, life with Larry. What? I love how he talks about locations. It's the bet on a Bears game. These units.
Yeah,
you got
these
4
units, yeah.
Yeah. And you want to talk about a success story. This guy started that first unit. Guy used to be a dishwasher, American dream, opened up with $10 in his wallet. And now every night of the week before this, right, they had to wait at every location every night of the week. Jam-packed, massive volume. And I talked to them today about how they're doing. Still doing great business. They're even sure if when this we're allowed to go to 50% dining rooms, which everybody assumes the next step is, I'm not sure if they're going to do it. And I think a lot of restaurants aren't sure, because do you even want to do it?
Well, yeah. You mean sure that they won't go back? They'll wait until 80, 90%.
Yeah. What's the point?
Yeah.
Well, the staff, when you start bringing in staff, that's when all of a sudden the costs go upside down.
Costs,
I think that's the problem.
risk.
Look
at that.
Because if you keep it half,
Denver Post.
if you're just doing, takeout, where you keep a very small staff and be a leaner, and then you have the risk of exposure.
Now the issue is they've all taken the PPP money, right?
Yeah.
So they have to hire these people back and spend it.
Yeah.
So what I told them is what Hoppa's doing, and I think you get a lot of this, to eliminate the 30% fee that you're paying the Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats. Some people have negotiated down into low 20s, but let's say 30%. You eliminate that. You take your waiters, you make them the drivers, and then you can just have a service like Chow Now. Put that on your website. They order through Chow Now. You deliver yourself. You can pass on that savings to your clientele, your guests, whatever you're comfortable with. Hoppa happens to be doing 2% of your bill, do 10, 15%. So they incentivize people to use your own delivery service. You're putting your employees back to work as drivers. They're getting fantastic tips.
Thank God. It's been about time, right?
But I think that's the next
hour back.
That's the next model. And the debate about they should have fees for these delivery services. I believe in San Francisco they went to 15%.
Those cities like Chicago, San Francisco, New York, those are set up for a lot of delivery
already, because high density.
High density. So Denver, I don't know, ever get that.
Didn't one of them though, Greg, say that they were going to offer free delivery during COVID for the local restaurants? I thought
so. It's a kind of a scam, bait PR kind of thing. Depending on which service it is, everybody heard free fees for restaurants, right? So they're like, "Oh, that's so nice. These people are so nice." No, they passed it to the client. Yes, you weren't paying fees, but the restaurant was still paying them. Maybe they weren't paying them today. It might be heard, but the most DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, they were still restaurants. The only thing I know is one of them, I think it's Uber Eats, when a new restaurant signs up, they did waive the fees for 30 days, the first 30 days. But in general, no, they're not that gracious that they're giving away those fees. And if anything, they should still be charging the guest and not be charging the restaurant. That's
So what the heck do you eat?
didn't I eat? So they brought me a nice taco assortment. They brought me bacon wrapped shrimp that were unbelievable. Some cactus, tons of salsas. California burrito. You had one before?
What California burrito? What's a California burrito?
I didn't know. It was my first one. So
avocado.
Yeah, avocado.
Guacamole, but it had French fries in it, and
That's interesting.
yeah, I guess that's a Cali burrito. It was my first in my life.
What'd you think?
I mean,
It was okay.
you can't go wrong.
Like, well,
No, it was great. No.
It was all right.
No. It was better than all right. No, their food is phenomenal. That's my favorite Mexican restaurant.
Would you tell somebody if they had bad food?
Would I tell them?
Or just not to your liking? Like, I'm not a fan of that.
Yes, you know me.
Yeah, I mean, I have a sense of how, but I also know that you're a nice guy by nature and you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings too.
When you look at my Instagram at OCN Eats, if somebody is nice enough to feed me free, I'm always going to post for them. I'm never, everybody is trying their best. Not every meal is going to be perfect. I had plenty of mistakes in my career, the food that I made. So when I post, I'm still going to post to make the food look as good as possible, but I'm not going to say this is the best thing I ever had if it wasn't the best thing I ever had. There's always something you could find positive to say about them.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say.
So some you might see me just like list the ingredients.
Yeah. Well, now you know.
Well, but you opened the door. Thank you for the lead in there, because I wanted to ask you, do you base any of your feelings around the food on what's going on to the process? Do you care about how they're, like, someone making corn tortillas, for instance? Little Rich and I had a big conversation about this the other day. Nixtamalization. Have you ever heard that word?
No. What is it?
It's this process that Little Rich does it.
Nixtamalization?
Yeah, I thought you just made that up.
No.
It's like a funnel down process?
No, it's actually a process of where you soak the corn overnight before you grind it. You soak it, you dry it out.
Kind of like that malting floor that we were looking at?
Similar. Yeah, similar. So what you do is you put the corn in a big vat, you bring it just almost to boiling, and then you let it sit.
That's not how everybody does it?
No.
Oh.
And this is what I found out. So we in the United States, we started cutting corners because the big tortilla makers and chip makers wanted a faster way. No one wants to do that. Little Rich with Raquelitas tortillas is one of the still people that does it, but it brings out all of the protein from the corn. So what we found is that now we're not getting the nutrients from the foods that we're eating because of the way that we're processing them. I'm doing this big study right now with potatoes that I also found is a very similar thing. That and I'm a big potato guy. I have been for a long time. And I just found out that the potatoes actually have toxins in them. And you're supposed to run potatoes through a specific process that in Peru takes 6 months.
Wow.
We figured out a way to get it down, or a chef did, to get it down to about 4 or 5 days. My experiment is up tonight, and I'll be cooking these potatoes tonight. Do you care much about that? Do you care? Are they using organic? Are they using good food? Does that weigh into when you're eating a meal, or no?
No, I don't care.
No, you don't care. Okay.
I care about
the flavor. Period. Right.
Yeah. And now there's
which isn't a bad thing.
That's delicious. MSG.
Well, MSG is actually, I have had good MSG. I mean,
it tastes good.
So I'm a restaurant promoter. That's my thing, So whether they're going that extra distance and that's their thing, I'll promote that. But in my restaurants, I kept the prices down because I wasn't buying organic ingredients, and there's a market for that too. So just be who you are, stay true to who you are. That's all I care about. And
transparency.
Yeah. And everything should match. The carpet should match the drapes, right? So when you walk in a restaurant, the feel, the lighting, the music, the menu, everything should feel the same and should convey the same message. And if you're doing farm to table, great. That's your message. Everything should be consistent, and you should be recycling. You should do everything you can to believe in what you believe in, and people can sniff out when you're full of it.
Experience. So for you, the experience is probably more.
I'm not even saying experience. Just I want great food at a great price with great service. I don't care how you get it to me. I don't care where you get your ingredients from. You know,
See, I'm the polar opposite.
I
want great ingredients. I want a good story. I want to know that my food is coming from some sort of local source to where that story makes the food taste delicious. I like to know about the farming practices, the agricultural practices. I'm not a big believer in these big package plants and big feedlots.
So you're a vocal minority. I mean, we hear about people like you, but if you want to feed the masses, they don't care.
I'm not
about
in that.
Stuff.
I'm not in that kind of the Reagan era of how can we process. I think that's where a lot of sickness is derived from, is all that over processing of food. Another topic, another day. We can do that. I love that. I mean, basically, that's the ethos of the Modern Eater Show, and really what we love so much about it is knowing your food.
Now, if you look at what I do, I only promote local. Like I won't
a little bit. A couple of your opening restaurants yesterday were not local; they were chains.
Well, I don't eat at chains, so what are we talking about?
I don't know. What were some of the openings yesterday that you talked about?
I mean, I'm sharing news. You're talking about news.
Well, it's Tokyo Joe's. I was like, I don't care if Tokyo Joe's is reopened.
That's local.
All right. Well,
when he first opened at Dry Creek and Yosemite, I was a regular there, and he had one unit. Yeah. That's 24 years ago, and
that's a great success story, though.
And I get my receipt, and it says on it, Larry. I'm like, how the heck did he know my name? I never told him my name. And eventually, after going there for a while, I'm like, how do you guys know my name? And they're like, well, every receipt says Larry because Larry's the owner. Larry Leith is the founder.
That's funny. That's good stuff. Hey, do we have Justin coming up? Just yes or no?
Yes.
Oh, we do. Is he coming in or is he?
No. Link.
Yeah, Link. Let's hit him on the link, and Larry can stick around. We're going to talk about Molly's for a second, and Molly's Liquid Lounge. What do you think of Molly's Liquid Lounge?
It's ridiculous.
It's kind of
gorgeous.
Tasting area here.
I'm wondering why I don't have anything to drink, though.
Well, listen, I think that's
we were going to do that.
Here
we slowed down. we missed it.
What would you drink? Wine, right?
No. I'm thirsty. I need something refreshing, like
water.
I mean, water. We're in a liquor store.
Like a nice stiff cider. Would you drink?
I would like a cider right now. I like a wheat beer, a sour. Ooh, I love a sour on a hot day.
I just saw a sour cider over there.
Yeah,
I got to tell you, I was really impressed.
Yeah.
I walked Molly's, and I've been to the one in Lakeside or Lakewood a bunch of times. It's at Lakeside, because that's the one that's convenient for me. And when I went in there, that one's actually a little bit bigger than this one.
Wow.
If you can believe that. It's a little bit bigger. But what I love about this is people are getting into geeking out about different things. And here, one of the things that I notice is they're geeking out about local beers. They've got a lot of local beer.
Did you see their collaborations? With the Molly's labels on them?
Oh, yes, I did
my
see
God,
those.
You should see them. And that's they do a great job of collaborating with the community. And today's show at 5:30, just so you guys know, once this stream ends, we're going to regroup and powered by the Modern Eater Network. We'll kick off Molly's Liquid Lounge, and it's hosted by Justin M., who works for Molly's. And today he'll be interviewing Jay Johnson from Bear Creek Distillery and Ryan Nagley from Boulder Spirits. They'll have a great discussion, and a couple of guys that are friends anyways. And these guys will sit around, and they're going to do some cocktailing, which you've got to do. So maybe we'll stick around for some cocktailing. And then they're going to get into the cool spirit tasting world. And Ryan Nagley being president of the Colorado Distillers.
Ryan took that over from Sean.
President? No, what is he? He's president of Distilling something or another. Damn it.
I went up to Boulder. And
Ryan Nagley.
Oh, Ryan Nagley.
Yeah, what is he president of?
Yeah, it's the Distilling.
That place?
The Distilling Guild or the...
No, it's not the Guild.
No, it's like the whiskey distilling units of and whiskey.
Where are you, Ryan? If you're watching, Ryan, please comment. So we're standing by for Justin. I think he's at home, right? Justin M?
Yes, he's got the link.
He's got the link.
So the cool thing is, though, is we're going to give you enough time once this show is done. Get into the kitchen, make yourself some dinner,
it's a happy
and
hour,
then
baby.
Sit down and enjoy this next show at 5:30.
Now, remember, in order to tune in on that stream, you're going to want to go to Molly Spirits Facebook page. That's the best place to find it. And also, I guess if you're a fan of Bear Creek's and you want to talk on their page, go to Bear Creek's page, and also with Boulder Spirits page as well. So Liquid Lounge, it's episode number 1, and we know we'll be here for 4 weeks in a row every Thursday with the Modern Eater Show.
I did not know that.
And then at 5:30 for the next 4 Thursdays will be Liquid Lounge, Molly's Liquid Lounge. I'm looking forward to that.
Exciting, man.
She hates being on camera. You could. There's Molly over there.
Come on, that's
right
that's the Molly.
No,
that's
that's
Molly.
Is
she
there a
gets
Molly?
that a lot.
But
She
isn't
gets
it-
that a lot.
is-
No, there's a good trivia question. You don't know what Molly is.
No idea.
Greg knows. He
the
told
unsinkable Molly Brown.
me the unsinkable Molly Brown.
That's what they named this after.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not a bad name for Denver, Colorado. You know, I'm interested to find out how they have two.
How bizarre
That
is
was a
that?
question.
Their marketing and PR director, his name is Molly. I said, hey, you just roll with her.
Is that her over there?
Yeah, spelled different. Mollie.
Well, I better say hi to her.
Yeah, you bet. Of course you will, Larry. You're Larry.
I'm a friendly guy.
I know.
We were just talking today, the Italian trios, how restaurant people, we spend all day talking to strangers, talking to schmoozing, being friendly. And when we get home, we don't want to talk to anybody.
I know. That's true.
We get home and like all our wives think we're mutes. They're like, why can't you speak when you get home? I'm like, honey, I just talked to hundreds of people and did all the small talk.
That's not going to work. That excuse will not work.
Well, it's worked for 20 years.
Oh,
She meets people all the time. They're like, oh, your
There you
husband,
go.
he talked to us for so long. He's so nice. He's like, oh,
We're waiting for Justin. I think he can hear us, but maybe purposely. I don't know. Do you approve the video, Justin?
have you been having technical issues?
I may be having those. I'm jumping into my Uber at the same time. Monica.
That's key.
His name's not Justin.
It's not Justin, they said.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Hey, man, do this because we want to see you and take the Uber ride with you. See if you can jump out of that chat room again and back to making sure that you prove your camera and you've obviously put your microphone, but jump back in. We're waiting for you at your host seat right now in Molly's Liquid Lounge, Justin. I think he's jumping back in. Tomorrow, Larry, we'll be back at Studio Kitchen, Colorado. I wanted to ask you about something. So here's what's going to happen on May 1st. It's Friday. I think a week from tomorrow, right? We have the Modern Eater Show has teamed up with the Colorado Restaurant Foundation, and we're putting this all together. It's kind of on the run right now. We're going to do a tribute to the Angel Relief Fund. And also a little kind of telethon, fun thing, a variety show of sorts. In a variety show already, Hazel Miller, she's agreed. She's going to come play in the show.
Oh, has she?
Yes. We've got
Nice.
some other talent that's lining up for this. We're going to get some great chefs working on Bobby Stuckey as sommelier.
Ooh.
And next Friday, if all goes well, right, for 3 hours, we're going to do that from Studio Kitchen, Colorado, and we hope you join in on that. The fine people that put on Denver Food and Wine are the same folks that we're going to be collaborating with on this project. So maybe, Larry, that's something you'd like to take part in as well. I know
I'm here to help, whatever you
you're a
need.
community guy. All right, Justin, your phone's not working, brother, but we can talk to you.
All right.
The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, sorry about all that. Pretty excited to come see you guys in a little bit. Getting an Uber right now headed way. Trying to be responsible since we will be drinking whiskey here very soon.
Yes, you will. So here it is. It's episode number 1 of Molly's Liquid Lounge. And it's at Molly Spirit here off of Arapahoe Road and I-25. I guess if you're going to come up, you could peek at it and see the show. But episode number 1, and I've been setting it up. But you'll be talking to these guys tonight. Jay Johnson from Bear Creek Distillery and Ryan Negley from Boulder Spirits. What can folks expect tonight?
It'll be, I think, really informative. Really, I mean, as we all know each other pretty well. If you like buddies talking about whiskey, you'll have a great opportunity to learn about some great cocktails, to get all those at home a chance to taste what they might taste at the tasting room. Unfortunately, they can't at the moment, but we can all just hang out and talk about whiskey and drink some drinks.
It's right. I can't wait to see it go down. We're going to be hanging out here, powered by the Modern Eater Network, and we'll be doing the heavy lifting while we show the true line coming in here and making cocktails and talking, sharing whiskey stories. But it'll be a series of 4 so far, and 2 of them you'll be doing. And I don't know, do you have the next episode booked up for spirits? Do you know you're working on?
I think we're going to do something fun with at least Lost Whiskey House. Our brand ambassador is trying to get Al from the A and AD Laws to join us, and maybe one of his to be announced. I think it'd be a really fun, informative next episode. Al's always a great time. Every time I've ever hung out with him, he's had a full glass of whiskey. He has a lot of stories, and we have a lot of fun.
If you get Al, just leave it at Al, and be happy with that, and do you and Al for that. This Molly's Liquid Lounge is so cool, and this space has just been dying to do something like this. But the virtual thing will happen tonight at 5:30. This is what we call in the business and broadcasting the handoff. So just plugging that tonight at 5:30, between 5:30 and 6:30, you will see Molly's Liquid Lounge, the first edition, kick off. I encourage you, if you would like to interact, fella, to tune in to Molly's Facebook page. And, Molly Spirit Facebook page, just look it up on Facebook, but you'll see it streaming there. And also on Bear Creek and Boulder's page. So tune in, don't goof, bring your proof. You can be under 21 to watch this, can't you?
I think you can.
It's going to be a good time. How far away are you from here?
I'm about 15 minutes away.
We'll see you in 15 minutes. And what we've got done doing the Modern Eater show here. So we're going to sign off and clean up, get everything all sanitized and ready to go for you guys. The microphones cleaned off, and it'll be sitting and ready to go for you. I can't wait to see the video of this tonight.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, you bet. There he is. Justin M. He'll be back in just a little while here, 5:30. And
hour and a half.
We'll kick that
back
in. For everybody, Todd Leopold today. Thank you, Leopold Brothers. Todd giving us a tour of their distillery. Denise Mickelsen, just a classy gal, and 5280 magazine. Support Double Down. It's a great.
Out and buy a couple gift cards.
Do it now. Right? 3 p.m. was Dr. William Blanchet from Boulder Internal Medicine. Just great insights, of course, daily. Larry Herz from OCN Eats and OCN Drinks.
OCN Drinks. I'm going to do some promoting for Leopold on there. Why not?
Cool. Why not? That's a good idea. And Dr. Sara didn't guess here. It says here today, but Code 4 Counseling for all of your counseling needs. For Jay Parker and Brian Freeman and letters, myself, Greg Holland, back tomorrow. We'll be back at Studio Kitchen, Colorado. See you back there. 2 p.m. The Modern Eater Show continues. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Right.